Welcome to Movie Rehash. In today's video, we'll be discussing the 2017 science fiction film called Time Trap. Spoiler ahead. Watch out and take care. Let's start. The movie starts with Hopper, who is an archaeology professor, and his dog, Boss. They are searching for Hopper's family, who went missing in a cave while looking for the Fountain of Youth in the 1970s. While searching, Hopper spots another cave in the distance. When they reach the entrance of the cave, they see a man dressed like a cowboy with an old-fashioned gun, as if he's stuck in a different time. This surprises Hopper, so he quickly turns around and goes back home. Hopper had planned the expedition with his teaching assistants, Taylor and Jackie. However, when he returns home, Hopper tells them that the situation has changed and he decides to go back to the cave alone. When Hopper goes into the cave, he realizes there's a barrier that separates the air inside from the outside world. He makes up his mind to break through that barrier, and as he does, the cowboy man he saw before starts moving again. It's been 2 days since Hopper left, and Taylor and Jackie haven't received any news from him. They become worried and decide to search for him. Since they don't have their own SUV, they call Kara, who happens to be Taylor's crush, and ask if they can borrow her dad's SUV. It turns out that Kara's sister, Vives, also needs to work on a school project, so Kara agrees to take her along. They are joined by Vives's friend, Furby, as well. When the kids arrive, they stumble upon Hopper's parents' van. They make an astonishing discovery: the professor has been searching for his family all along, not some hippies from the 70s like they were initially told. As they explore further, they come across an old rope that leads them to a different part of the cave. However, they realize that the rope has been cut and it's not Hopper's rope because it's very old. They also realize that the cave goes really deep. The kids decide to continue descending into the cave, but Furby, who is too scared, stays behind to keep watch. As they go down, Kara notices the same invisible layer Hopper mentioned earlier. She says it completely changes the air around them. The kids decide to break through the layer they found. Meanwhile, Hopper follows the cowboy man and soon begins to experience something strange. He notices a peculiar dance of light, as if someone is repeatedly making the entrance of the cave very bright and then dark with a huge flash. Suddenly, he hears a terrifying scream and quickly runs away from the cave. As we saw earlier, Hopper entered the cave when the sun was still shining. But within less than 5 minutes inside, he realizes that the outside world has changed drastically. His car is now covered in plants, and it's already nighttime. It's as if just a few minutes in the cave is equal to several decades outside. Hopper also stumbles upon Kara's SUV and Jackie's backpack, so he decides to go back into the cave. Meanwhile, the kids start exploring and suddenly hear screams. The girls, starting with Jackie, decide to leave the cave. However, the rope they were using gets cut, causing Jackie to fall and both her and Taylor get hurt while trying to save her. Taylor pulls a second rope, but it's also cut. The group begins to suspect that Furby purposely cut the ropes as a prank. They try to contact Furby through the radio, but there's no response. Eventually, they hear faint sounds from the radio, someone asking for help. They realize it's Furby. With no other choice, the group decides to continue deeper into the cave, leaving the injured Jackie behind. On the other side of the cave, they find another cut rope and discover Furby's lifeless body with a broken neck. They then watch the recording from Furby's camera to see what happened to him. Furby discovers some information from Hopper's dad's journal that the cave contains magical water with healing properties. The family decided to search for this water because Hopper's sister was sick. After spending several days outside the cave, Furby decides to go inside and look for his presumed dead friend's car keys. While Furby spends a whole day in the cave, the rest of the group experiences only a few seconds. As Furby enters, his rope gets cut, causing him to fall. Thankfully, he doesn't die but remains unconscious for about an hour. When he wakes up, he tries to call Taylor, but suddenly a caveman appears and attacks, killing him. Vives notices something strange. The time code on their recording shows several days passing, even though they have only been in the cave for an hour. Since both Taylor and Jackie are injured, only Kara and Vives are left to find a way out and call for help. Since Vives is younger, Kara decides to climb up the same way they came down. She manages to reach the surface, only to find herself in a completely different place than where they started. Now, there are no plants around, and the air feels strange, making it hard for Kara to breathe. She notices a massive dust storm approaching and also spots a gigantic triangle-shaped object in the sky. Since she can't call for help, Kara decides to go back inside the cave. However, the others accuse her of not even trying to get help. They don't understand that only a few seconds passed for them inside the cave, while Kara was outside for about 30 minutes. The group realizes that time moves faster outside the cave, making events inside the cave progress more slowly. Taylor mentions that the ropes at the top of the cliff are rapidly aging due to the friction with the cliff's surface, causing them to break. Because of this, Vives decides to rewatch Furby's recorded footage and notices that the paths of the sun keep changing. Kara also shares another astonishing revelation. The bright intervals represent summer, while the dark intervals represent winter. In the cave, one full cycle of seasons passes by in just about 1 second. This means that an entire year goes by in only a second. By doing some calculations, they realize that approximately 5,400 years have passed on Earth since they entered the cave. As Kara attempts to climb the cliff once again, something extraordinary happens. Suddenly, a futuristic and high-tech ladder appears from above, along with a giant being wearing a spacesuit. Out of nowhere, a caveman appears and attacks the giant, but the giant manages to subdue the caveman without causing any harm. The group decides to run away and finds themselves in another part of the cave. There, they discover the lifeless bodies of the cowboy man and Hopper's parents. They are also confronted by 3 more cavemen. Taylor bravely decides to fight the cavemen, but he is brutally killed in the process. The girls manage to escape to the other side of the cave. However, Kara returns to find Taylor's lifeless body. While crying over him, she encounters the alien giant. Surprisingly, the giant picks up Taylor's body and carries him to a pool of water. Miraculously, the water has the power to bring Taylor back to life. The cavemen return and attack the giant, causing his helmet to fall off and exposing him to the air that he can't breathe. However, he still manages to capture all the cavemen. Before he passes away, the giant shows the group various media clips that explain their disappearance and reveal that humans have started moving to another planet to ensure the survival of humanity. At this moment, the group realizes that there's no way back and they must decide whether to leave right away or stay there forever. But then, Taylor discovers a severely injured Hopper in front of another thicker wall. Behind that wall, Hopper's long-lost sister and frozen people from different eras are battling to control the Fountain of Youth. Hopper explains that the entire cave is a complex system designed to protect the fountain. Each layer has a different speed, with time moving much slower in the deeper layers compared to the ones above. The group decides to use the magical water to heal the injured Jackie and bring Furby back to life. However, they are still being attacked by the remaining caveman. With no other options, they choose to use the high-tech ladder provided by the giant to climb out of the cave. As they reach the mouth of the cave, they are shocked to find that the entrance is now filled with water. Kara tries to break through the layer, but suddenly strange creatures grab hold of her. Later, they discover that these creatures are evolved humans. Shortly after, a fully suited Kara returns to the cave, bringing a high-tech rope to rescue everyone, including Furby, Hopper, and Hopper's parents. In the end, Furby, Hopper, his parents, and his sister are all brought back to life. They find themselves on a larger spaceship that is heading towards the new Earth, offering them a fresh start. In this way, movie ends here.